And that is my monologue to you, ladies and gentlemen. I am being joined with I am being joined by Eric Chinje. I can't find him now, but I guess he will be joining. I'm also being joined by Kennedy Ejacha and Dennis Atem. I think Eric is back. I hope to see his audio on. I think I can see that. If you can centralize your camera, sir, that would be great. All right. All right. Let me start with Eric. It's a pleasure to have you back here, sir. Something technically is not
Thank you
going
very much,
right.
Chris. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear
You
you,
can.
but we're having some technical issues here. Getting you, if you can centralize your camera, that would be awesome. All right, that looks better there. All
Is
right,
that
good to
right?
see you, Eric, once more, joining me from
Thank you.
London. I know
Yes,
you've
sir.
been out there fighting so hard for a change in Cameroon. When I spoke with you yesterday, you were scared of even visiting Cameroon. What happened? You were once the favored guy in that country, right?
Well, Chris, we're all. I'm a child of God. I think I live with truth and truth as I can see it when I see it, and that's always been the situation. I have acted as best I can in the greater good. And because I've received so much in my life, I've tried to give back as much as I can, and to do it in all with people in mind, with the country in mind. If God made me a Cameroonian, it's because I have to protect that country. If I was born in that geographical space, I would do everything to support it. And of course, I'm a citizen of the world, so I also contribute to that. Look, the whole point I want to make here is it is not what people have said or think about me. It is what I comes from my heart as God makes me to see things.
Wonderful. Well, let us delve into the event of the season, the elections in Cameroon. I see lots of momentum building around Issa Chiroma, but the concern is not with Paul Biya, because again, if the playing field was level, one would say by now that Chiroma will be the winner, but the playing field is not level. You have a situation where you have Issa Chiroma, Akere Mona, Osi Joshua, and these other smaller parties. You and I have lived in that country, and you know that what Bia is going to do will be to go to the north, divide Issa Chiroma's vote between him and Buba Bello. He will come to the south, I mean the rest of the country, all the way to the west region. You will divide the rest of the vote between the SDF, those other parties, and the CPDM. And then the conclusion at the end at the end of the day would be, well, Issa Chiroma came second, and the rest, whatever order, and the CPDM came first. How is Issa Chiroma and those of you rallying around him going to challenge this already machinery setup?
Again, thank you, Chris. I just came out of a conference, a Zoom conference, uh, that brought together what we call Project C, Project Change, Project C for Cameroon, C for Change, C for Commitment. I just came out of that conference a minute ago, and uh, you know, um, by the way, Rebecca Enanchong says to say hi to you because she was with you yesterday. She said,
Right.
um, "Let me reassure you and everybody else: these elections will never Cameroon has never had elections than what they'll be having on Sunday. It'll be different. Why? Because we're more out. Well, let me give you some key reasons. One is people are sick and tired of the CPDM. I think the vast majority of Cameroonians are sick and tired of the CPDM. So The demand for change is real. We're not inventing this. The demand is real. The second thing is, whilst the authorities in Yaoundé have essentially been stuck in the 20th century in their use of technology, I think we're in the 21st century compared to them. And we're going to, we're using whatever we can from our mass expertise in modern technologies to ensure that the vote count is it's a reflection of what voters actually what how voters voted. So that's the second reason. So the second is the technology. The third reason is we're much better organized. We're more experienced in counteracting rigging than we were in 1992 when a very similar poll took place. So for these three reasons and more and others, we're better organized, better experienced. These these elections will be like we've never had before. And let me point out,
Hold on
this
there,
will
hold
be
on
the
there.
first.
Let's do
Yeah.
this very surgically. When you talk about the era in which we're living in, I mean, referring to technology, what are you doing that you want the people to believe that is going to make a difference in terms of this
Well,
technology?
we're just more sophisticated in how we're going to monitor the poll, how we're going to get the results. Let me tell you, Chris, on the 12th of October, there'll be elections. On the 13th of October, we will get credible results, even
From
before the
who?
government has had time to collect, manipulate, and change the outcomes. And if they continue to want to rig those results, we will be going to the Constitutional Council with proof. And if at the
This is a
Constitution,
problem. This is a problem. When you go, who do you meet at the Constitutional Council?
no, good question. Look, I want to tell you, Cameroonians, because they're no longer willing to submit I'm telling you, you've seen children going out to the streets who were instructed to chant Paul Biya Oye, going out and saying Chiroma President. People are ready to defend change. And if the Constitutional Council, we're going to have evidence, and if the Constitutional Council, in spite of everything we do, still pronounces Mr. Biya president, something will happen in Cameroon that will bring the change. Change will come to Cameroon, whether or not the regime wants.
I still have my concerns about the process. I have seen a list of polling stations in some counties in Ambazonia. Of course, we're gonna get there, but I have seen a list of some polling stations in some counties in Ambazonia, places where nobody knows they exist. How are you going to confront this? They're gonna be doing that all over the country. Fake
Right,
polling
Chris,
stations.
I do know that your program is monitored, and there are things I cannot disclose here. But what I can tell you is we're prepared for those situations. I'm just coming out at 10 minutes ago from from a meeting where we're discussing these things. So I know what I'm talking about. We are. That's why, Chris, I called you and I said a couple of months ago. I said, please encourage people to vote. We are counting on massive turnout. I called you and I said, please, if possible, declare a truce. I wasn't asking for a permanent truce. I was asking for 2 or 3 days, the day before the vote, the day of the vote. It's important that people vote because numbers will determine whether we make it across the finish line or not. And this is the situation. I mean, I can't say it enough. And believe me, we will have a government we can discuss with. Even if there's a 50% chance of having that government, I think it is worthwhile.
But you remember talking about our discussion some months ago. You remember I said to you, we will be open to listening to you, seeing what we can do as a group, provided the opposition come to us and say, let's sit down, meet Amazonian leaders and talk. You remember I brought that to you and you said, you and Onga Nana will do that. None of the oppositions have come to Amazonian leaders to say, let's talk. None, zero.
No, look, my brother, we these moments call for great humility, commitment, and a determination to do the right thing. Um, it's not going to be easy for us to change the course of history. But I believe, we are all determined to bring about to, to bring. Sorry about that. I'm trying to get my, we're going through a historic moment, and we cannot afford not to get it right this time around. We have to get it right. We've got to bring about change. And I hope that we will not let ourselves be carried away, be dragged down by uh, emotional or sentimental or other reasons
I mean,
that prevent us
I
from making
don't
the right
know how
decisions.
you can characterize this as emotional or sentimental stuff. If the people who are seeking leadership and they know they're having a problem in that country for the past 9 years, and they cannot, before the election, sit down, say, let us meet these folks and talk to them and see if we can arrive at some conclusion. If they cannot do that before the election, why do you think we should believe them that after the election they are going to be a tool for a solution to the conflict?
You know, I wish I had a better answer than the one I'm going to give you. Um, we are we are from the same geographical space. We are, we don't have any more control over outcomes than you or anybody else. We do with what we've been given with the limited resources. And when I say resources, I don't mean financial. The limited power, financial resources, experience that we have. That's what we make do with. I think what's important is the outcomes we seek. And those outcomes are dependent on things that are beyond our control. But I hope that all of us can understand, Chris. I'm sorry, I'm trying to. I hope all of us can understand that it's in the interest of every Amazonian, every Cameroonian, everybody from within that triangle that we call Cameroon. Everybody has a stake in what happens in the next few days. And I'm just saying, whether you want it or not, the, it's not Mr. Bia who's going to resolve the problems of our country. It's not him. So whatever it takes for us to get rid of him so that we can sit around a table and talk about the future of our children and our children's children, we should do it. Let's stop this, the backstabbing, the complaints, the crying, no, it's not helping us. We know that what happens on Sunday will determine the quality of peace and progress in our part of the world. And I think we should go for it. That's all I'm saying.
I hear you. What happens if the popular candidate doesn't win?
I'm saying that we will fight to defend the victory for change. We will. And
Okay?
what if they don't win? As you're saying, we'll make sure that we can claim the victory if it is ours. If it is not, then there's nothing we can do about it. But believe me, Chris, they will not steal the votes this time around.
We've
They
heard
will
that
not
for we
manipulate
have
the
heard
votes
that for 42 years that the votes will
because we've
not be
never had the
stolen.
same.
Remember Frundi? You were there behind Frundi. You supported Frundi. We heard that a lot. A few years ago, we had Camto, and in fact, they banned Camto from contesting this time because of the same fears, not knowing that Issa Chiroma was going to turn out to be their nemesis. Well, we have heard that again and again. This time, they cannot rig, and they keep on rigging. I think I lost Eric there. Let me bring in Kennedy there. Good to have you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Crisano. Once
I
more, it's a
saw
pleasure.
a video you put out today and you were so bitter. I was a little bit surprised that it was coming from you because I know many of you federalists wanted to see elections take place in Cameroon, supporting Issa Chiroma, pinning your hope on him. What changed? Because you are totally, completely against the election.
Oh, Chris, I'm not against the elections, but I'm just against the sham and mask and uh, manipulation that's going to happen on the 12th. It's not going to be any election on the 12th. It's going to be Mr. Paul Biya self-proclaiming himself again as president. Now, let me be clear about this. For those who have been keen followers of the political environment in Cameroon, we have gone through one of the most retrogressive tenure for the last 30 years. So there is no magic that's going to happen. All what people can claim that they have to use the resources, the technology, that technology has been around for a while. That technology did not just crop up with Issa Chiroma. So my question is, since 2018 to now, why wasn't that technology, why wasn't all of these mobilization resources, why was all of this mobilization technique not used to do the right thing? The right thing, which is to fight for a credible electoral system that will guarantee fair and transparent elections. So what they're going to have, everybody knows that it's going to be rigged. Everybody knows that Mr. Biya is going to declare himself as president. And Mr. will declare himself as president because of actors like Chiroma. Like Chiroma that have been supporting the system, that have been foiling the system, that have been using every resources that they have to solidify the system. And then we turn around and want to say that Chiroma is going to be the liberator. It makes me think about our forebears. It makes me think about those who sat around that table in Fumban with all the good faith. Because I have respect for all my senior brothers, sisters, and my parents who right now think that Chiroma is great. They have that good intention, that well intended. Just like those that left Southern Cameroon and went to Fumban and talked with these crooks, with these con men, thinking that they are going into an alliance with gentlemen. But worse still for this generation is the fact that they know the tools that they are purporting that they're going to use to consolidate a certain victory on the 12th. Those tools, when we put them in use, the tools demonstrate to us the fact that Chiroma is the worst thing that we can put our hope on. Because supporting Chiroma is selling our credibility. What are we going to tell our people on the 15th of October? When Chiroma comes out with a statement on the 14th of October, telling people that, please, you all should calm down, let things be calm. We're going to see how we will work out things, and we'll come out with a strategy on how we're going to flush Mr. Paul Biya. Because that's what's going to happen on the 14th. Why everybody thinks that there's going to be a fight on the 14th of October?
I don't understand you though. You are for the elections, you are against Paul Biya winning the elections, and you are against Chiroma winning the election. Chiroma being important here because of the massive support he is getting. So who do you want to win?
It's very easy. Ask me, what am I fighting for? We should be fighting for something and not
For
for
what?
anything.
What,
I
according to
am
you?
fighting. I am fighting for full democracy in Cameroon, institutional democracy. Institutional democracy does
You
not
cannot
come.
get there in one day.
Institutional democracy does not come with with the change of a man. We can have we can fight and have institutions in Cameroon that will guarantee that anybody can be president in Cameroon without thinking of mass mobilization, without
Define the
thinking of
process.
anti-rigging.
Define the process. Let me hear you.
Okay, the process is simple. I just told you that we've just gone through one of the most retrogressive octennium. The last 8 years is the most retrogressive. No single change. Mind you, Mr. Chris Anno, not even a comma has been changed on the electoral system in Cameroon for the last 8 years. This is the first time in 30 years. When we started this struggle, the, the electoral system in Cameroon was in a department in the Ministry of Territorial Administration. We moved into Onel 1, Onel 2. We had Elecam 1, Elecam 2. And all of these moves came with changes, came with progress. But we have actors today on the landscape in Cameroon who have been unable. I'll tell you, all of these people that are talking today, they could not meet to come out with a communique on a common platform for an independent electoral commission. They had a meeting at Hilton with Mr. Kamto and Cabral Libi and Joshua Osi of the SDF and Kwemo Pierre and Temanu Njoya. They had a meeting and a sub-prefect, not even the prefect, a sub-prefect came, banned that meeting. And these people, they're all, I mean, these are jokers. They ban your meeting, they ban you from having a meeting at the Hilton. Man, you could have gone in one of those offices. You could have even released the document to show what you guys had prepared for a common platform for an independent electoral commission. These guys were unable to do that, which translates that they are not about bringing change to Cameroon. It's all about themselves. That's the reality. Who isn't seeing that? But we cannot
My
keep falling for
confusion
that.
with your prescription is that I really don't know what direction you are trying to take. If elections should not happen, what should they be
No, Mr.
doing?
Chris, Mr. Chris, it's simple. It's simple. I mean, let's not go in any magic. It's clear. What I've said, how do you want me to say it? Let me say it slowly. What needs to bring change in Cameroon is institutional reforms. The opposition in Cameroon should engage and fight for institutional reform, raise the consciousness of the Cameroonian people, mobilize the Cameroonian people to do whatever is needed to come out with institutional reforms. And when I talk about institutional
How about
reforms,
they win the
we can have a
election and
constitution.
then
Hold on.
change the institutions?
How is that going to happen? Do you know? But now, let me tell you, let's go back to the history of Cameroon. That's the same thing that Kemaju Daniel taught in 1958 when he joined hands with Jean Ramadier to oust Andre Marimbida. They thought that they could have Aijo come in who is more pliable. But what happened? 1 year after that, Kemaju Daniel faced his nemesis and he was obliterated. You know by whom? He was obliterated by Kame Samuel, a guy from the West. Now, Aijo in 1982, when he handed power to Paul Biya, he handed power with the intention of maintaining a grip over the power. Aijo could have given power to Samuel Oboa. He could have given power to Ayisi Vodo because, I mean, within the circles, they knew that Biya was the most pliable. He was the most docile person. So that's what Aijo thought because that's what Biya was. But at that minute, when you get crowned president of the republic, because the system that has been created is so hyper centralized, you create a monster that's going to devour you, that you cannot control. That's why, mark you, in November of 1982, Aijo gave power to Paul Biya, and July of 1983, less than a year after, Aijo was forced into exile. He became a persona non grata in a country that he had spent his whole life forging by a system that he had put in place. And now, Let me give you contemporary examples. Have you heard about the G11? The G11, this is a group of intellectuals, Franco intellectuals, that with Mr. Paul Biya, to calm down the tension in the early 1990s, came out with the Constitution of 1996 with a limitation on the terms, on the presidential mandate terms to 7 years times two, that's 14. They had made the calculation and the agreement was, Mr. Paul Biya, we will do everything for you to have this power again for 14 years, because in the next 14 years, we think that you would have grown out of age. And once you get the power, then you transition it back to us. But guess what? All those that were involved to help Paul Biya, hear me well, all those that were involved to help Paul Biya to rig the election of 1992, to reassert himself in 1996 with that constitution, all of them, either they are dead already or they are wallowing in prison. Why? Because by the time Paul Biya resented his power, he now used the tool that the hyper-centralized system in Cameroon gives him. And that's why I'm so concerned about all of these respectable people, these people that I have enormous honor for. They're making a grievous error. We know Issa Chiroma. I know Issa Chiroma personally. I was in charge of the SDF election. I said publicly, and anybody can challenge me. I was in charge of controlling the SDF election in 2004 in the Grand North, the three northern regions. And by that, I had the fortune in my life to attend meetings of the Coalition for Change, in which Mr. Chiroma was part of in 2004. And we used to meet at the Metro Arisu's office in Garua. I know the kind of things that Chiroma was saying. It is not even the least different from what Chiroma is saying today. And you would think even that Chiroma has changed. But Chris Anu, if I had to go to the court of public opinion, you would be a witness to my case against Chiroma, because you would have to tell me whether actually Chiroma called you before going to Bamenda. Has he spoken to you when he was going to Bamenda and you had given him the green light, and in that Ambazonian people go ahead and follow me? Don't you see that is somebody that is ready to say anything to pander to people? Chiroma tells everybody that Biya told me to say what I should say. The regime told me to say what I should say. On the 16th of October, coming very soon, Chiroma is going to say this. My well-esteemed, loved uncle, Ni Eric Chinje, told me to say this. This and so and so and so people told me to say this. Talking about the things that he's saying today. That's somebody that I cannot
All right,
trust.
you hold on there.
No,
You hold on.
Where do I put my trust? Let me finish. Where do I put my trust? I put my trust in the fight of institutional change until I see people who are really committed. They say, no, the fight first is we will not relent. We will fight. Because when I fight for institutional change in Cameroon, it could be Chris Ano that will be president. It could be Ni Eric Chinde that will be president. It could be anyone that could be president. But if this fight keeps centering around, it's my turn, we will keep on having the fate that was reserved to Kamto. Remember, it was well said, no make error. And everybody was hyped up that Kamto has everybody behind him. And that if they make error, the error was made. And what was the outcome? We have all this same technology at that same time that these same people, Ekane Anise, Jokam Chameni, okay, Jokam was not part of the Kamto crew that said no make error. But I'm seeing the same faces. Come on now.
All right, you hold on there. Hold your thought there. Let's get back to Eric. Eric, these issues of trust with Issa Chiroma, they are being raised by everybody, and it is symbolic of the whole political class in La République du Cameroon. It is difficult to trust anybody. I had Issa Chiroma's daughter here, and I said the problem we have with politicians in their country is that, yeah, they tell us how dependable, faithful they're going to be if they are elected. But when they get into office, they don't have our ears. They have the ears of the French. What is Issa Chiroma telling you guys who are closely monitoring and talking to him about this election? Do you see him as a man who can be trusted? The Issa Chiroma different from the one who said nobody has been killed in Ambazonia for all these years?
Well, thank you, Chris. I will preface what I have to say by emphasizing the love and respect I have for my brother, the Reverend. I approach politics. I'm not a politician, but I approach it with a lot of mind, with my mind and my head rather than my heart. Though where my heart has to play, I allow it to play. And I approach it also with a very humble sense of godliness. I'm sure Reverend Egata will understand that. Nobody that I see in the political arena in Cameroon, including you, Chris, nobody will be considered trustworthy because we are who we are. And it's precisely for that reason that the country is so unable to come together and fight for what is right. But at some point, we've just got to take a leap of faith and tell ourselves and give ourselves an opportunity to put ourselves in the hands of God and do as human beings what we should do. That is what I see happening in that country today. We've got to seek divine intervention. Those who know how to pray should pray and do what we have to do. Issa Chiroma is no worse devil than almost everybody else I see in front of me. I have come out, I definitely didn't want to endorse him, but somehow I said the truth about him, and people took that to mean Eric has endorsed Issa Chiroma. And I'm willing to go with it. I didn't, what I said was this. For all the politicians I've known in Cameroon, the high-level politicians, Issa Chiroma is one of the few who's genuinely patriotic, who's humble, and who I will trust over most of the others. And that is the truth. I know what happened, for example, Reverend, in 2004, because I took Issa to meet with Nijon Frundi, and I took Issa, he can tell you, to meet with Issa Chiroma, with Damjoya. And it is out of those meetings that they decided to seek a single candidate to stand against Mr. Biya. And they established a set of criteria that will allow them, all of them at the time, to choose one candidate. And they did. And you know who they chose? They chose Ndamjoya based on the criteria that was agreed to by everybody, including our friends, Songani, Michael, Kemlong, and the rest of them. They chose Ndamjoya. And John Frundi walked out of that room. And the opposition never had a single candidate. That's exactly what happened in 2004. The driver behind that process, as you know well, was Issa Chiroma. And when that failed, Issa told everybody, you are no good. You're not good enough for Cameroon, all of you. And he walked out of that room and went and negotiated with Biya. And before we knew it, he was in government. So there are no angels amongst us. Let's, as the Bishop of Yagua said, let's take our own devil, the one we can work with, and do what we have to do. Of all the candidates, there are two who accepted the notion of a transition of 3 to 5 years. There was Akere Muna, my friend and brother, whom I wouldn't trust either. But I was willing, if it came to that, if Akere could, pull his weight politically, I was willing to go along. But I don't trust him. And when, Akere came out of the race, who next has agreed, not only with us of the Project C, you may know the Project C that I'm working with, but with almost everybody else, has agreed that he'll go in for 3 to 5 years, radically change the institutions and the laws of the land so that we can be in a position to finally elect the Cameroonian president. That one person is Issa Chiroma. That is why we're with him today. I'm not even fully with him. I'm willing to accept him. But I'm working with everybody else, in Project C. Let's give him a chance. The guy has, he said, and I know whether Chris says it here or not, Issa Chiroma called me and said, look, I want to go to the United States and I want to meet with Chris Anu and Sako and the rest of them. He told me that. And I said, call him. I don't know whether he got your number, Chris, from me or from somebody else, but I'm sure he must have called you. So he wasn't doing it for political reasons, essentially. He was doing it because he knows one thing. There will be no peace, no development, no economic progress in that piece of geography we call Cameroon or Southern Cameroons or Amazonia. There will be none without peace. And he knows that from day one, you'd have to pursue peace. So he planned to come to the United States and meet with the leaders of Amazonia for that reason. I think, we ought to say, all right, we'll give this fellow a chance as opposed to the others. Mr. Biya has been not only arrogant, but totally insensitive. And not just Mr. Biya. It's the enablers around the man. Dion Gute, the prime minister, bleeds. His heart bleeds because he cannot bring peace to his part of the world. John would do it, but he is part of a government that will not do it. That's why we need to clean out this government. And we will. And if they're not willing to go away peacefully, something is going to happen to take them away. So I think, in 4 days, let's put chance on their side, on the side of change. And let's, then try to engage with these people, at least an Issa Chiroma or anybody else who is committed to peace in that land. Anybody else. We'll talk to all of us. We'll talk to the Chris Anus of the world. That's what Issa was trying to demonstrate when he went to Bamenda. And now some idiot called, I shouldn't call him an idiot. He's another human being like me. But, he wants to put a case against him.
Yeah, that is,
which is all
Mangwe and Salai.
Well, part of the deal. So let's take our emotions away. Let's put our hearts. Our hearts are important, but let's put our minds to work. Let's do the right thing. Let us try to get a government we can work with. And I'm sure that next government is, and let's encourage our people to go out and vote on Sunday. And we're taking steps to ensure that the outcome of the ballot on Sunday is what the world will know. And on Monday, the next day, at the latest Tuesday, you'll hear those results as we have collected them. And we'll see how they'll fight those results.
Let me take you back, Eric, to something that Chiroma mentioned in Bamenda last weekend. I call them revelations. This is a man who was an insider in the system, the spokesperson for the government. Officially, he came out and said he was telling the people what the government wanted him to tell them. Is he not now officially making that region culpable for the crimes committed in the southern Cameroon? Because Issa Chiroma will be like a witness now of what he saw and what he is apologizing for and telling the people what he was told to say.
Do you know who can be a witness? Mr.
No.
John Gute, the Prime Minister. The Prime
No,
Minister
John Gote
fought to,
is too
no, no,
naive to want to
no,
speak the
well, yeah,
truth.
maybe naive, but he fought to bring peace to the land. And there are people like, and I'll give the name here, Ngongo and a host of others, our friend and brother Atanganji and the rest of them were uninterested. Why? Because the absence of peace benefits some people. That's it. They're just us. They're us, these people. They're just a reflection of who we are to some degree. So let's be humble about it and let us again forgive when we can and take to task those that we must take to task. You're totally right. Issa Chiroma can serve as a witness. And as I say, John Gute can serve as a witness. But for us to make that case to the international court, we've got to, we've got to be clean. We've got to have our own
What do you
evidence
mean
because
by
they have
that? We're going
evidence
to be
against us.
clean.
Well, I mean, don't parse my words. I'm just another incompetent human being, But the truth is, yes, there are too many errors have been made, too many wrongs, and the most important thing now is to stop it. Stop it. Do a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Try those who must be tried, and move on with our people. That's where we are. And to stop it, Chris, I said it to you and I'm saying it again. Let's create an environment where this government can be voted out, create an environment where we can vote in people we can talk to.
No, you make a good point. However, let me bring in Dennis Atem in here because one of the contentious issues in this election is Ambazonia boycotting the election. I know, Comrade Atemkin, you are one of the insiders making some of those policies. I would like you to explain to people like Eric who do not see the reason why Amazonians should stay away from this election. I had Rebecca here yesterday, and afterwards I was reading some of the comments under her post of yesterday, and she seemed to have uh, won the hearts of quite a number of people out there. I don't know whether they are Ambazonians or not, but she won quite a lot of hearts. Dennis, I would like you to explain why it is necessary Ambazonians stay away from French Cameroon elections.
Thank you, Comrade Chris. Before I come to that, since Mr. Eric Ginger is here and he says that he's working with Jerome, I'd like to come back to the issue of fighting electoral theft. You know, in 1992, I represented the SDF in the LBLM election. And it was quite interesting because it was an experience. I saw all the endeavors that they made to steal the vote. Unfortunately, they just got somebody who could not be dribbled. They brought in different people. They did all kinds of things. The duo was there. He said he allies with the reports that were brought from the field. You know what I did? That evening, I decided to just I called the commissioner who was in charge of the counting to take my excuse to say we should resume tomorrow. Unfortunately for me, he accepted. That night, I took a pickup, rode round, woke up every secretary that was at each polling station, and brought them, paid them their hotel bills in Menchi. The next day, I said, come with the identity, come with the official paper, and so on. When they came, I went to the DO and the commissioner and removed and took the documents they were working on and put on the table. When my turn came, I went out and called this person. Which polling station were you working on? He told me. I said, look at those papers on the table. Can you recognize it? He said, no, this one not be me. Oh. I said, which one be your own? He removed his own and put down. So I demolished every bit of a deceit that they were trying to practice there. So I believe that there is a possibility for the opposition to win. The first thing is to meticulously monitor and designate the individuals that will man every polling station, beginning from the big towns, knowing that the big towns have the largest population, you must get the most alert individuals to be in those polling stations. That is the first thing. Once you're in that polling station, you now things can be worked out easily, because the issue of Cameroon is the level of implantation is very small for other opposition parties. So the CPDM takes advantage of that to say, oh, I was the only party in this polling station. It was like this. So I think if we meticulously work on this, we can get it. I think so.
mm,
I think so.
mm,
Mr. Eric is here. The crowds don't make the vote. The crowds don't make
mm,
the vote. Don't mind the crowds that come around. What you should do is get the required people. Make sure that you have a paper and go through the list of all the polling stations and make sure that you have a person at every polling station. That's the first thing. You must also educate those people to know what to do. Let me give you a simple example that happened. During that SDF vote that I'm talking about, after all the votes had been counted, they registered the votes and asked me to sign. I said, but I want to understand what is the meaning of my signature on this paper. Is it to say that I agree with the results that are on this paper, or is to say that I participated? It There was an argument for over 1.5 hours on that matter. I told them that no, the only way I will sign this paper is for me to take the pen and put my reservation on that paper. And that is what I did. After they finished with that, I immediately took the bus to Chang. From Chang, I went to the Supreme County Commission in Yaoundé, where when the 10 for Libya Lem came, they asked whether everybody signed. That was the first question they asked. They said no. There was one guy from the SDF who did not say. They said, what happened? They took my reservation and read. That is what saved the SDF in Libya Lem. But because
mm.
we followed methodically and tactically, otherwise they will steal it. They will steal it. Definitely, because they claim that the Supreme County Commission was just a post office. It could not deliberate on anything there. So, I want to mention that because there is a big chance here that if people are meticulous and they are clear, they don't follow just the crowds that they are seeing, but say, for us to uh, actually monitor this election and make sure that every single vote is counted and secured, we have to have every polling station manned. So this is the most important thing in this election that I see, because people see the crowds, they rush and they forget all those details. So this is very important. Once you do that, I can bet you that there is a high chance that if the margin is big enough, they will be unable to steal it. They'll be unable to steal it. So that
Absolutely.
can be done. Now I come to
Dennis,
Mr.
Dennis,
Jeroma.
Mm,
Dennis, I kind of disagree a little bit with you. I agree with the tactics of making sure the right results are read, but when you're talking about the
All
margins,
right.
in Cameroon, I doubt whether the margins matter, because consider again the margin of the vote that the SDF had in the 1990s, and yet Bian State declare a wide margin of victory. I don't see if they want to win, and I believe for as long as Bia is a candidate, there is no way out. The people have to fight for it after that election if they really want the world to believe that they won the election. That's the only way I see.
No,
Chris,
I think Mr. Kinje said something that is very relevant. The presence of modern technology, which enables those who are present at the polling station to actually make their own tally and announce their own results. Despite the threatening of Atanganji and all those people that nobody should announce any result. No, knowing the kind of regime you are working with, when you have your own figures, you should go out and announce them. You should go out and announce them and get your militants ready to defend their result if a different result comes out. I know they
But
will
but
say you are destabilizing the country, this and
but
that, but
remember,
that is
they're
their
gonna
tactic.
tell you that those are not official results.
Of course, they will say
Great.
that. They will say
Mm.
that. They will say
Yeah.
that definitely. They
They
will
will say
say
those are
that.
not official
They will say that.
results.
But at least,
Yeah.
no, I just want that before we actually say that we have lost or we have won, all the evidence should be there. We should have gathered all that evidence and have it in
That's it.
our hands
That's
so
it.
that if we go to the Supreme Court or whoever, the Supreme Court may manipulate because I saw what happened in Nigeria with the Nigerian presidential election where certificates were faked and everything, but the Supreme Court still manipulated and gave it to somebody. So those kinds of things happen, but at least you'll be satisfied that you have done your own part of the job. Whatever is happening, if you are following it up, you are following it up on the basis of clear evidence that you have that you won. There should be no ambiguity as far as that is concerned.
All right. Convince Eric and the naysayers why Ambazonia should stay out of the vote. Dennis.
Now, first of all, Comrade Chris, let me state that Ambassador was not joking when we said that we're a separate country. We have never been part of Cameroon. That's a fact. Unfortunately, the tactic of Cameroon is to prevent us from ever speaking. If you listen to Mr. Chiroma, he was trying to tell the story of the Southern Cameroon instead of letting the people of the Southern Cameroon tell their own story. His conclusion was that we were deprived, we are angry because we were deprived the vote, the right to sovereign independence, and we're asked to vote either to join Nigeria or join Cameroon. No, that is wrong. The issue is not that we were asked to vote whether to join Cameroon and Nigeria. It was, do you wish to achieve your independence by joining Nigeria or by joining Cameroon? That cannot be taken out of that definition because we were voting for our independence in association with a sovereign country. That is all. So if you leave out the idea of independence, you have not told the truth. You have not told the truth. Because the two alternatives from the United Nations contain the agreement that we had with the La République du Cameroon to form a federation after the plebiscite vote. So you cannot just say that the question was whether to join Nigeria or join Cameroon. No, 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 no. That is a mistake. Not only that, the plebiscite itself was only a declaration of intention, and that declaration of intention cannot be a union treaty. It cannot be. So the fundamental question that we will have to ask is what are the requirements of international law to prove that territory belongs to you? That is all.
Mm.
That is all.
Mm.
Dennis,
You see,
Mm.
yes,
what about the argument that if Ambazonia should go and vote, they facilitate a solution to the conflict? I mean, they vote for a person they can then turn around and negotiate with. That is the argument that is out there.
no, 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 no. That argument, because if we have taken the firm position that we are a separate country, we cannot go and influence a vote in Nigeria or in Chad or any other country. Why should we influence the vote in Cameroon? It is true that Cameroon must sit down for us to be able to resolve this matter. But knowing the system of Cameroon, we have just been arguing here, and people are saying that there is a high possibility that Biya will steal this election as he has been stealing all the other elections. Now, how will Ambazonia make the difference? Because Ambazonia has been voting in the past, but that never made a difference in any election that Ambazonia participated in. So for us, it is clear that we are not going to participate in this election. Not only that, remember that this is a strong statement we are giving to the world that we are a separate country. We cannot have taken a decision to be a separate country that we say that Cameroon has no instrument of international law that gives it jurisdiction over our territory, and they now see us compromising and going back to vote again in Cameroon. How will anybody take us seriously? Nobody can take us seriously. So our determination to abstain from Cameroon election is a fundamental affirmation of our independence and a statement to the world that we're separate and we must maintain that. There's no possibility to go back now and say we want to go and influence elections in Cameroon because we want to have somebody who will negotiate with us. We are clear. We are on the negotiation table waiting for whoever wins in Cameroon. If they think that they can continue the war, fine, let them continue the war. We did not declare the war. We are peaceful people. We have said it over and over again. We want peace because we understand that these are human lives that are being ruined. Unfortunately, neither Mr. Pobia, Atanganji, Ngongo, or any of those people in those circles values human life. They destroy human life. They do what they like because they're in positions of power. They have the guns, and they do exactly. We cannot be like that. We cannot be like that. Ambazonia values human life. Ambazonia values peace. Ambazonia values development. You can see how they have scrambled the minds in that country to the extent that even somebody who cannot walk, people are contributing money to go and support him. They are still hailing him. Even if he won the election today, how many years will he rule consciously? How many years can he rule consciously? So you can see that they are just working from a certain hypnotic influence that has been exercised on those people. It is not because they are rational minds. They are not rational minds. Because you see the roads are in chaos. Everything is broken down. Yet somebody has had 43 years to change the situation, and he has been unable to do so. So, what do you think the extra 7 years at the tail of his life, when he is not even conscious enough, will be able to change? So
All
what
right.
we are seeing is that some proxies who want to use him to stay in power and then probably hand over to them before he leaves or whatever. But it is not for him. They're not doing this for him. So the position of Ambazina is very clear why we don't want to vote in La Republique's election. No matter what people say, if they say, "Oh, you should vote because you'll be able to change you'll be it become the determining factor," we are not the determining factor in La Republic's election because we don't control anything there. We cannot stop Pobia from rigging the election. We cannot stop it. We cannot stop it.
So
No,
if I
and
may
besides
ask,
that,
Please, yeah.
if I
yes.
may let Eric come in there. Eric, I don't know whether this makes sense to you, the argument that Dennis is making there. Because for us here in Ambazonia, it is not who wins the elections in La République du Cameroon, it is who we are going to negotiate with. And we cannot gamble those chances because if Chiroma doesn't win and Bia wins, if Joshua Ochi doesn't win and Bia wins, it changes nothing for us. Did you see
Yeah.
that?
Comrade,
Yes,
please
absolutely, Chris.
let me
Can
just
I?
make something clear before you go ahead. Mr.
Go on.
Chinja, just 1 minute. Now,
Okay.
you see, we have said that. Okay, look at we were talking about Chiroma. What I read in Chiroma that he is not anybody with principle. So he tells you, I was saying this because I was asked to say, he's not a child. He's not a child. Is that what Allah tells him to do? To tell lies, put lives at risk, kill people because someone instructs you to do it? Is that what Allah tells him to do? So he is not a principled person. That is the most fundamental thing I see about this individual. He is not principled because anybody with principle will say, instead of putting lives at risk, causing families to be killed, causing children to be burnt alive, I would rather resign. No, he didn't do that. But now that he wants our vote, he comes to say, I'm sorry. No, it is, I'm sorry, it's a joke. It's a joke, really.
All right.
That's just what
Let Eric come
we're
in
not
there.
making anybody there.
Let
Okay.
Eric come in there. I know you wanted to interject.
Yeah. Thank you, Chris. Let me say a couple of things. One is, I've never asked for an Ambazonian to vote in the elections. What I've asked Chris and other leaders of Amazonia is that they should declare a truce so that there are no gunshots the day before, the day of, and maybe the day after, the election. For those who can vote, who take themselves as Cameroonians, and who can vote to vote. That's all I'm saying. I'm not asking for anybody who takes himself to be an Ambazonian to vote. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, who are we to judge? Who are we to judge? This is part of this inability to allow the things that belong to God to be done by God, and the
You
things
are
that belong to
speaking
us to
in
be done by us.
parables. I don't know what you are referring to.
Okay, I'm just
Exactly.
saying. I'm just saying that who are we to judge? I don't know what's in such Chiroma's mind. I can only go with what I see him do and see him say. He says, as Minister of Communication, he had to take the government's position. Does that mean he is a wishy-washy politician? Maybe, but I will not judge him based on him doing his work. Mr. Issa Chiroma was with the opposition and was a hardline member of the opposition. Did he do his work as he was supposed to when he joined the government? Maybe. But look, let us not be holier than thou in these kinds of circumstances. So my take is we there are Ambazonians in in English speaking Cameroon, in southern Cameroon. There are people who are Cameroonians who are in Cameroon and who will be voting. And these people reclaim their rights to vote and to determine who becomes the leader of that part of the country where they belong. So, what right do you have or I have to dismiss your actions, or what right do you have to dismiss my actions with regard to the political environment? So I'm just saying that each of us would have to make their own minds and make their own judgments in these circumstances. And I come back to what I said at the beginning. All I and folks like me are asking for is that we be given a chance to elect a government that we can work with, a government that will bring peace to our part of the world, a government that has the authority to make a difference in our, whether through their political, through policy arrangements and other things. That's where we are. I'm not asking for any more than that. I really hope.
Eric, I
I
think
really hope that
there are two.
those who consider themselves Ambazonians will not vote, ignore the vote, but allow those who do not to vote to make a difference. And why do I say that? Is because I believe that until we have a government we can work with, peace will not come to our part of the world.
Well, I think the problem is you are taking this as a fight for democracy as far as Ambazonia is concerned. It is not a fight for democracy where we say, you want to go and vote, go and vote. You don't want to vote, okay. Whereas this is a fight for sovereignty. And we have said we are no longer part of La République du Cameroon. If there are Ambazonians who live on the side of La République du Cameroon, they are free to go and vote if they want to. But in the geographical territory that we call Ambazonia, we are saying that is our territory. If Cameroon was so serious, if their politicians were so serious, as I said to you last time, Eric, if they were so serious, they would have come to Ambazonian leaders and say, all right, let's sit down and talk and strategize. Let's see if we can work together and then see what we do after the elections. They did nothing. None of them have come across to us to say a word. But what they are saying to us now is open the territory. Come back to us. Capitulate. Surrender. Come join us. Let's vote and then fix the country after. After we vote, their ears are tuned to the French, no longer to Ambazonia. That is a problem.
And I'm not saying anybody should vote who does not want to vote. I'm saying those who consider themselves Cameroonians should allow those who want to vote to vote. And there are two things, Chris. If we make the place security, if we make it impossible for people to vote by making the place threatening to them, what happens? Nobody who would support our cause will win. The people who will win will be those who can manipulate and declare that from the
How do you
northwest.
know that? Because that has
No,
always been
no.
the case anyway.
Let me
Because
finish.
the vote
Let me
is
finish.
always manipulated. Now remember, I
Let me.
was reading some stats this morning, and I read that the Ambazonian vote, assuming they were going to vote, is only 13.6% of the vote. Only 13.6% of registered voters. So whether Ambazonia votes or doesn't vote doesn't affect who wins that election, either Chiruma or Paul Biya.
Every vote counts. One. Let me say that. Based on the work we've done, every vote will count. Let me put that put a pin on that. Votes will count this time around like they've never counted before. That's one. The second thing I want to tell you, Chris, is that what I just said, we're not going to insist on anybody who doesn't want to vote to vote. People will be free to vote. The third thing I want to say is we will not have, this government has demonstrated, the BS system has demonstrated, under no circumstances are they going to negotiate. Under no circumstances will they create, an environment for dialogue. That is clear. And we are saying, give peace a chance. I'm saying that people like me, born in Bamenda, totally wanting peace over everything else. There are people like me in the hundreds of thousands, and many will be voting, whether we or you like it or not. And I'm saying, if we can allow these people to vote and they can help, because every vote counts, they can help in determining a different outcome. An outcome that allows us to look at each other in the eyes and say, you have been wrong, history is not on your side, you've done the wrong. Let's sit around a table and so we take the burden of decision making away from the guns to the round table. That's where we should be. And I'm just saying, look, allow people to vote. I'm not saying go and vote. I will not be voting. I'm just saying, don't force people to vote. Just create an environment where the majority can vote. And I think that majority will say we want peace and we want to negotiate with Amazonia and we want to make it possible for Amazonia in post-election discussions. Amazonia can determine that, all of you who want a separate country can do so and go to the international community and make your case. Unfortunately, where we're going, it's not going to happen.
All
And that's
right.
all I'm saying.
All right. Please.
Eric, let me just say something, Eric. The people of Ambazonia probably more than I do. You know that we open our territory to the refugees fleeing from La République du Cameroon. Isn't it? You know that. You know that we are the most open people that you can think of. So
Mm.
if we have taken this decision, it is a national issue because we don't want that decision that we have taken to show the international community that we have taken this decision and we're not participating to be watered down by saying, oh, those who want to vote should vote. No, because this is a national issue. It's a matter of territorial integrity here. This is the
No,
issue.
you're talking about people going to vote, and I'm saying no. Don't
Yeah.
get any Ambazonian to vote. Just
No, not
allow
Ambazonian. Not Ambazonian. That's why I'm saying this is a national issue now. Because if we say
a national
anyone who
Ambazonian
wants
or a
to
national
vote,
Cameroon. I don't know what you're saying.
no, Ambazonian issue. I'm talking of Ambazonian nationality, not Cameroon. No, I'm referring to Ambazonian. That this is a national issue now, big for us. You understand? This is a national issue. Just imagine, visualize the situation where we say, okay, citizens of La République du Cameroon who want to vote, you can go and vote, and then amongst them there will be other Southern Cameroonians because we will not stand there to identify who is going to vote. So we will just water down that decision, and it will just defeat the purpose of the decision we've made. That's why we cannot do what you are
I mean,
suggesting.
Mr. Chris, I think I need to step in also as
Step in
well.
there. Go ahead.
Yes, because I mean, I was about revolting because it's like I wasn't part of this conversation in the way you're calling on panelists. But now that's a bigger issue to all of this. I hear what Comrade Dennis is saying, but the truth is that Ambazonian has not yet been established as such. So Ambazonian should be able to leverage whatever opportunity they have
Mm,
to create avenues for strategic partnership.
mm,
What what we are seeing right now, when you go to the parliament there, who are those who are talking on behalf of that territory that you complain you claim to be yours? Let me play the
mm,
devil advocate right now. Who are those who
mm,
are talking on behalf of those who are in the territory that you claim to be yours? It's all CPDM. And how did that happen? It happened because of this nonchalant attitude of barricading those well-minded people that are supposed to be Ambazonian, that are closer ideologically to Ambazonia, and that always had this effect of making the Ambazonian voice known by proxy in the Cameroon parliament.
mhm.
So when you block that opportunity to have your strategic, those that should have been your strategic partners, to get into places where they can speak, have, then you open the door for those who are radically opposed to you. And that's what we are having.
Exactly.
While while
Let
I'm
me
saying that the
let me
system,
come in there. Let me come
no,
in
let me
there.
finish, please. I mean,
Hold on, hold on,
Mr. Chris,
hold on there, hold on there. I hear your point, but I'd like to ask you: Ambazonians turn out in their numbers, millions, to vote for the SDF. What change did they have? Ambazonians turn out year after year to vote for representatives within the CPDM, the ruling CPDM. What change did they see? Ambazonians troop out to vote for Camtor for all these years. What change have they seen? Nothing. La République du Cameroon trying to whitewash or do some window dressing of the situation and said they are giving Cameroonians like you a special status. They gave you houses of chiefs. They gave you regional councils and they told you they represent you. How many Ambazonians voted for those so-called regional councillors and the so-called House of Chiefs? How come you people never learn a lesson from the past?
okay, let me explain to you. And it is very clear. My fellow comrade Dennis Kemleken, I hope I've pronounced your last name well. If not, forgive me. He is a good example of why we should not roll back the gains that we've had in the past. Dictatorships are brought down by creating cracks in the system. Earlier on in this program, my fellow brother Dennis explained with, with majesty how he was able to prevent the system from stealing elections in I think it's Menji, that's Lebiale, by being wise and using the system, using the flaws that are in the system. Again, no system is perfect. Even a totalitarian system
Not
is
for
not
not for
perfect.
64 years.
Yes. So now let me explain the great things that they did. If you want to say what did the SDF do, we cannot be
No, no, no. I'm
oblivious
not.
to the fact that
I'm not challenging the SDF. I'm referring to.
no,
I'm challenging the regime. Anything you want us to vote
yes.
for.
So that's why I am saying that Ambazonia will stand a better chance when Ambazonian decides that they will whip the regime from several angles. And you can only do that by having strategic partnerships. Let Ambazonia
Mhm.
understand this clear.
Mhm.
We cannot get where we want to get to if we don't have strategic partnership. Why am I on this program? It's because I, as a federalist, I believe that I need the strategic partnership of the Ambazonian. That is
Mhm.
why when you put Ambazonia and CPDM, I would navigate towards Ambazonia. Why?
Mhm.
Ideologically, I have my intersection with Ambazonia is far wider than whatever intersection I can have with the CPDM. So I make that strategic choice. Strategic alliances is what makes the world function. Ambazonian cannot stand and put itself in a cocoon. I say that I who is
Mhm.
I will be a great critic of the electoral system in Cameroon and everything. But if that's still the tool that they are using, okay, so be it. I have not called for any boycott of the elections. My only thing is I lack the sense of credibility that is needed from whoever is being presented as the main forerunner. Beside that, I have people like Cabral Libi. Even Joshua O see that I have some kind of, he's Joshua Osei has a great platform. He has a great ideological prism. I'm 100% ideologically linked to Joshua Osei, but I don't think he has the punch to carry that struggle. So that's where I start doing my trade-offs. It's all about doing trade-off, knowing ultimately what we want. One of the biggest problems that we have is that we put people ahead of the goal, and then we start looking at people and we forget the goal that we should be pursuing. That's once again, let Ambassador wake up. And that's why at the end of the day, I'll still applaud Chris Anno for, I mean, though you seem to be radical at times, but just having this kind of conversation, it's a plus. That's why even you see when you received Mr. Chiroma's daughter, it was amazing to me because I could go back and take the video where Mr. Chiroma was telling a journalist in Cameroon that I'm going to close down, lock down your TV if you talk about Ambazonia. But when he needed Ambazonia, what has he done? I mean, you guys can learn from Mr. Chiroma's playbook. So that's politicking the Cameroonian way. I might not agree with it, but that's politicking. So in his now that he needs you, he is, whether he is lying to you or whether he's doing what, why can't you use diplomacy? Because now I'm not telling you to lie. As a pastor, I'm not going to tell somebody to lie. But why don't you
Mhm.
use diplomacy?
Yeah. The
Dennis,
message
I
I
would
No,
like
my
you
sent.
to
brother, let me say that. Let me say that. I think I find myself in a terrible contradictory situation where our fighters are singing their national anthem, they are celebrating their Independence Day, and then the next day they are going to vote for a foreign country. No, I cannot do that. I cannot do that. The
We're not saying
message
they
must
should
be
go and vote.
consistent. Our
Dennis, we're not
attitude
saying they
must
should
be
go and vote.
consistent.
We're not saying they should go
No,
and
but
vote. I'm
that
not.
is what, is that not
We're
what we're
saying
arguing? We are
no,
saying
no. We're
if they vote, they
saying
will create alliances and so
we're
on.
saying they should create
No,
an environment where we can get the government we desire. There are Cameroonians in Ambazonia. There are people who consider themselves 100% Cameroonians, and they're going to be voting whether you like it or not. They're going to be voting
no,
whether you like it or
they
not.
can
So
do
the
that,
point
but
I'm
that is
making,
in
no, no,
violation of national
the point I'm
policy.
making,
That
well, the
would be
point
in
I'm
violation
making
of
is,
national policy. Yes.
well, the
No,
point I'm
no,
making is
please,
the
Eric,
people who
let
have
me step in a
the
bit.
people,
No,
yeah, let me finish. The people who have voting
okay.
cards, who are Cameroonians, who live in a space
Right.
called Nkambe, Bamenda, Boya,
Yes.
Kumba, whether
Yes.
you like it
Right.
or not, those people are there and their
Right.
votes will count. And those votes will
Right.
determine the government that territory has. And all we are saying is let us create an environment where the people we want will come to power and help us achieve the goals that we want to achieve, like a Republic of Ambazonia, for example.
Yes, I mean,
No,
I
I
will add to
totally
that.
agree with
You
you.
know,
But for
see, you
me,
have
the
made it, Mr.
consistency
Eric.
of our own policy, we cannot be confusing our people. Well, okay, you and I are here debating this matter. But imagine that Our people, they come out, they sing their own anthem, they celebrate their Independence Day. The next day, they hear us announcing that we will go and vote. No, it will just create more and more confusion in the minds of the people. The
We're not saying they should
consistency
go and
of our
vote. We're saying they should look, whether you vote or not. Atanganji is going to claim votes from the northwest and the southwest,
yeah, of
whether you
course,
like it or not.
exactly.
And that's
Yeah,
one.
but no,
They'll claim
let
they'll
it not be
claim that you voted.
that.
They'll claim that you voted 100% for them. Two,
True.
whether you create, the one thing you can do is create an environment of peace and allow those who can vote to vote out the governments you don't want. But
No,
if
No,
you
it
the
if
is
you
problem with
if
La
that is that
République
now
to create the
the
environment
problem
of
with
peace. We
Ambazonia.
are a
Now, this is
peaceful
my
people.
problem.
It is
This
La
is my
République that is
problem.
creating
Kennedy,
the
hold on.
crisis in our territory.
Let Dennis finish the point, please.
Yes,
No,
finish.
I'm
So
saying
now
that
the problem.
for peace, it is La République du Cameroon that can create an environment of peace. Because if La République did not declare war on us, if La République soldiers are not there shooting our people, we will never throw a stone on anybody. We know that. We are peaceful people. Before this war, we never threw a stone on anybody's roof. It is La République that declared war on us. It is for La République to pull back its soldiers, and then there will be peace because there will be nobody to fight. There will be nobody to
Yeah, I
fight.
mean,
That's just the reality of the matter.
To
we
Eric's
don't have.
point,
Dennis,
Let, let me get.
that, all right, Kennedy, go on, make the point, please.
Yes, my point is that what Eric is, what Comrade Dennis is saying is absolutely right. We don't throw stone. As a federalist, I have huge problems with the regime because in 2016, we federalists were at the epicenter of all of this event that spiraled to where it is. So that's the truth that we also, as federalists, we claim. It's not an exclusive thing of Ambazonia. But secondly, Ambazonia also injected itself in this electoral process. We cannot say you are in a neutral position because by calling for a boycott and putting a lockdown, you have engaged yourself already in that
absolutely
electoral process.
simple,
By
simple.
just that fact that you
Yeah.
called for a boycott,
Mm.
you have cast your vote.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Mm-hmm.
how does that even make sense? How does that even make sense when staying away, we are simply saying we don't recognize the authority that is organizing this election. That is what we are saying, and we are telling them it wasn't a joke when we declared in 2017 that Ambazonia is cutting off and is fighting for its independence. Since then, we stopped participating in their 20th Mays, their 11 Februaries, their reunification celebration and stuff. We've seen stop that. So where is the difference with these elections? When Eric says just let Cameroonians who are in Ambazonia go and vote, can they cross over into their country and vote?
Chris,
Cameroon doesn't have
why
an
you
embassy in
why why are you being so unrealistic?
No, it's a
You
fact,
it,
Eric. Are you
no,
saying
it's not
that
a fact. It's
when
not a fact, my
elections
brother.
take place in
There's
Nigeria,
there
because
are people,
Nigeria,
there are millions of people, hundreds of thousands, who have voting cards in Bamenda, in Kumba, in Boya, in Limbe, across in Lebialem, everywhere. There are people who have voting cards, my
but
brother. There
you
are
know
people
from day
who
this
will on Sunday.
this boycott isn't something that was announced yesterday. From the beginning,
And
from day number one, everybody was made to understand La République du Cameroon is in no place to organize elections in Ambazonia.
well, whether you like it or not, they're going to organize it, they're going to count the votes, and they're going to announce that Mr. Biya has won 2 regions.
As
He's won the
usual.
Northwest. Listen,
As usual.
listen.
As
The
He doesn't
usual.
international
always win the
listen.
Northwest. He doesn't always win the Northwest. I can say for that.
That's
He
right.
always
But the
does.
unfortunate, yes, he does.
No,
Yeah, no,
not
no,
the
no. But the
Northwest.
unfortunate thing, Chris, the unfortunate thing is that they will announce, if Amazonia said we're having a truce and will allow people to vote, those who consider themselves not Ambazonians, Cameroonians. I'm not asking for any Ambazonian to vote in Cameroon. I'm saying if you consider yourself Cameroonian, and there are hundreds of thousands who do and who have voting cards, we will create an environment where you can go in there and vote. And we know that none of them will vote the Biya regime. So inevitably, the Biya regime, the Biya regime cannot claim that it has 80% of the votes in Northwest and Southwest. If you do,
Do you realize, Eric? Do you realize that there are whole towns and cities in Ambazonia that are made up of francophones, and these francophones are CPDM loyalists? I'm talking of towns like Victoria.
The vast majority now are not, and if we do not allow those who can go and vote the opposition, the SDF, all the other parties, if we do not allow them to go and vote, then the 10% who are CPDM folks in that territory will go and vote, and the CPDM will give them 100% of the votes or 80%, and then Mr. Biya wins.
But again, I just don't understand why you guys don't get the point. I'm saying that
we get the point, Chris. You don't get the point.
For the past
you don't get the point,
years,
and that's the tragedy. The tragedy of this is that you're so locked in your systems that you cannot even see the simple logic of what we are saying.
You're not being realistic. We have been voting for 64 years.
You have not been voting.
Did any other party win in Bamenda? The CNU won. The CPDM won. Has the SDF, that became the most popular party, did it ever win in Bamenda?
The SDF always won in Bamenda until they started fabricating the results based on the fact that there was so much insecurity, nobody could vote.
What significance was the SDF winning in Bamenda at the national level? What did it change?
Why are you changing the goalposts the whole time? This is your problem. Look, guys, you'll go nowhere with your strategy. You have to listen. Look, I will go to my grave in 10 to 50 years, whatever time God takes me, if you stick to your inability to step back away from the problems and say, what is the best strategy? What is the way forward? And we are telling you this is an opportunity now over any that we've had in the past. I know you keep going back to the past. Why did we not? Why did we not change the
problem? Eric, you and Kennedy have never been in the past. You have always thought of one and indivisible Cameroon. That is your problem. If you had thought of the past and you are now saying, let's reason a little bit different, it will make sense to me. But you've never been part of the past.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying we can negotiate a new Cameroon, a new peace.
We're going to be back. We're going to be back. Stay put. We're going to take a brief break out, and then when we come back, we will open the phone lines and hear what Ambazonia and the rest of the audience say. Stay put, please.
ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricatv@gmail.com. ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricatv@gmail.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the debate has been quite heated here. Now we have the phone line open for those of you watching to call in and make your contribution. The number should be on the line. The number should be on screen any moment. But before you call, make sure that you shut down the volume of your set. Make sure you shut down the volume of your television set before you call. Okay, let me see. Somebody is calling here already. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you. Where are you calling from, please?
I'm calling from Canada.
All right. And what is on your mind, sir?
Yes, I've listened keenly to the debate, and I have a few things to say. After that, I'll have a few questions for Brother Eric and Pastor Kennedy.
You have just 1 minute. You have just 1 minute. Go on, sir.
Yes. I want us to lay to rest the issue of Ambazonians voting in La Republique election. One, Ambazonia is a territory. When it is time for Ambazonians to vote, Ambazonians will vote in Ambazonia territory. If he claims there are Ambazonians who are La Republique citizens, they should go vote in La Republique territory. And they should just avoid trying to bring any argument, because none of those arguments will be logical and will not make sense. Because Ambazonia is a territory, Ambazonia is independent. These are issues of national security for Ambazonians. No La Republique elections in Ambazonia.
And what is your question?
Just forget that, because like my tribes people say, Betanya fu achu mfewa, meaning you don't put medication in a dead man's mouth because you are wasting your time, it won't work.
All right, and what is your question?
And secondly, I want to ask Brother Eric, by extension, Sister Rebecca yesterday, when Ambazonia was fighting, you criticized Ambazonia. I've heard you say your strategies are going to make a win for the opposition, and you will defend your vote. If the opposition wins and the results are not declared as from the polls, something will be done. What will be done? Are you ready to defend your vote? And if you are defending your vote, don't blame Ambazonia for doing the right thing, because what we did, we are fighting. It is the right thing to do. I've equally heard Brother Kennedy insinuate they were going to fight for their vote. I know there are various ways of fighting, but stop trying to make Ambazonia the low-hanging fruit. If you wanted a truce, have you asked the authorities in Yaoundé to pull out their military from Ambazonia so you can have the truce that you so much desire? Thank you.
Thank you. And you make a very good point there, because you see, in La Republique du Cameroon, they have the liberty to walk out and vote. But Ambazonia is militarized, and nobody has the liberty to even walk around for anything. Why are you guys proud to your elections? I thought you would be calling for La Republique du Cameroon to withdraw your troops so your people, your Cameroonians, can walk out to the polls and conduct their voting. But we'll come to that. Let's get to more calls here. Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon, Comrade Chris.
Yes, sir. Where are you calling from? This is Sama Thomas?
This is Sama Thomas calling from Belgium.
All right, go on, sir. What is on your mind? 50 seconds.
When I listen to Mr. Eric Chinje and Mr. Ijika, I don't know if that is his right, if that is the right pronunciation of his name, I am wondering if they are aliens or they are living in the same world that I am living as well. To Mr. Eric Chinje and Mr. Ijeka, I told Frudy in 1992 that the ballot box was never going to do anything in La Republique du Cameroon. That was 1992. I said the only way the exit was going to succeed is to pick up guns and face La Republique with, if we really want to liberate that country. Eric Chinje and the rest are still living in the past, thinking that they will succeed with the ballot box. The ballot box to Eric Chinje, this to Eric Chinje and Ijeka, the ballot box has never removed a cruel dictator like Mr. Paul Biya from power. And Southern Cameroons have come to the point to say that they will not waste their time with the ballot box in La Republique. Let La Republican citizens go and settle their problem with the ballot box as they've chosen, and lead Mr. Paul Biya to reach his election and be the king that he wants to be. But in the Southern Cameroons, no vote is going to take place. If Mr. Paul Biya wins and La Republican citizens choose, they cannot pick up the gun. If they like, this is the moment for them to pick up the guns and chase Biya out and not wasting their time in the ballot box. I yield.
All right. Thank you.
Can we answer those? React to those?
A lot of calls coming in here. Let me give Eric the opportunity to respond. First of all, hold on there. Let's take this caller from ground zero. Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, ma'am. Where are you calling from? I know I see this is a Cameroon number. Where precisely?
I'm calling from Boya, Brother Chris.
All right. And what is your contribution, ma'am?
Yes, I wanted to say something.
Yes, go on.
Good evening to everybody on the platform, to Sir Eric Change and Mr. Dennis. I wanted to ask you people something that it really troubles me. For example, if today let's say La Republique, everybody has left our territory. Let's say we have that everybody has left our territory and we are the Ambazonians and we are organizing, for example, an election, and the Ambazonians are abroad in other countries. Wouldn't they vote in those countries? Must they come home to Cameroon must they come home to Ambazonian territory before they vote? Can they vote abroad?
That is a really good question, and it leads to the other question which I asked earlier. Why is the La République du Cameroon militarizing all of Ambazonia, and yet they want our people to go out, troop out and march under military supervision? Why in La République du Cameroon people can walk freely to the polls and vote? I thought Eric and the rest would be telling Cameroon before this election, take out the military so people can go and vote in Ambazonia. No, they're only out trying to tell Ambazonia, go out and vote. Go out and vote when we are occupied.
Please, my another question. I want to ask you people, when you people impose lockdown on us, every time you people impose lockdown on us, for example, a La Republique minister is coming to visit, you people impose a lockdown on us. Do you know that when you people impose it like that, we are the ones suffering? The people still come and carry out their activities and go back without anything happening to them. Are you people actually fighting them, or you people are fighting us? That you people claim to
Thank you for the call. Thank you for the call. Hold on. Hello.
Yes, hello.
Oh, okay. Thank you for the call. There's another caller here. I will respond to you. All right. Let me say this. I think some people in Ambazonia do not realize that what we are fighting, we are in a war situation. When you have a war situation, there are certain measures you have to take, and they bring pain. Do not forget, we who live in the diaspora, we have families too on ground zero. It is not like some are precluded from the pain and the suffering with no goes on the ground. So, we do not declare lockdowns, ghost towns, just so that people are punished, people suffer. It is war, and it is a fight for freedom, and it is not given, it is taken. We have to fight for it, and there must be sacrifice for it. All right, let me get to
Chris, let me just tell our sister that we are fighting for everlasting freedom. Not for 10 years.
I can barely understand you, sir. If you can raise your voice a little bit, it will be better. You have to call back, sir. Call back. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Comrade Chris.
Good afternoon, sir. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from the great state of Indiana. And I just have a quick question for our brother Eric Change. My question is, the opposition in Cameroon, do they know how many people are registered to vote in that country? And what is going to stop La Republique from inflating the numbers if they feel like the opposition is gaining the popularity and they're having more votes than the government, because they have the card, the knife and the yam, so they can change the numbers anytime. Since the opposition doesn't have, or they don't know how many people are registered to vote, how do they defend that?
All right, thank you for the call, sir. I appreciate that. Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Hello, I can hear you, sir. Where are you calling from?
Okay, I'm calling from Estonia.
Estonia? Interesting. All right.
Yeah.
What is on your mind, sir?
All right. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. And I'm from the Northwest, but I'm married and I'm living in Estonia. So
Okay.
I've been watching your show, and I really decided to watch your show because Eric is online. You know, seeing what is going on back at home, it breaks my heart. Really, it really breaks my heart. But my question to you, Chris, is like, what's your end game? What's your end game? Because you see, the government of Cameroon, when they want to do their things in Northwest and Southwest, they come and do it, and they go away. And the next time you see anything on the news is that somebody has been killed because they were like blacklegs or something like that. A lot of people are really dying. A lot of people are suffering. And what I see is you guys, you have no way. There is no way for you, because if people don't go out and vote, or if people don't participate in anything, with whom you are going to negotiate, which means that the people are going to continuously die endlessly. The suffering is
All right. Hold on. Hold on there. I'm not dropping you. Hold on there. I'm quite interested in the points you make. Again, I will say this again. Yes, we agree there is pain and suffering on the ground, but nobody is spared from it. You talk about people dying. They locked up my own mother 80 years. They killed my father. They killed my brother. They burned down our family home. I have nothing left. Hold on, I'm coming to you. Just hold on. Just be patient.
Excuse me.
Just be patient. Hold on. I'm not dropping your line.
Yeah.
I'm not dropping your line.
My point is, your parents are dead. Yeah, your parents they died because of this. But my point is, what is your end game? If you are going to refuse to like,
you don't get the point. The television is not where you come and sit and spell out strategy, right? So if you're expecting me to tell you what the end game is not on television. If you call me privately, maybe, but on television, I don't have to tell you. So please, let's understand that when you talk about pain on the ground, everybody feels the pain, even us in the diaspora. You think I don't want this thing to be over so that I can live a normal life?
I think you want it to
okay.
The end game is independent.
But I don't want to wave the white flag of surrender. There got to be a settlement. And if you're telling me that these politicians you are referring to contesting for Cameroon elections are the one who have the solution, I am waiting for that opportunity. Whoever wins, I am ready to sit down, talk with them, we negotiate with them, but not running after something that we really don't see a difference.
So, Chris, do you really think that a president from Yaoundé will really call Chris? Please let me come and talk to you.
You are mistaken. Okay, all right. Hold on. If a president in Yaoundé, hold on. Don't push it. I'm not dropping you. If a president from Yaoundé will not call Anu or Ambazonia and say, come and negotiate, then why should Ambazonia or Anu be voting for that president?
All right, so then there is no end game to this suffering.
Okay, we will get there. We'll know when the end game will come. Thank you for the call. All right, I will give you, Eric, I know a lot have been mentioned. I'd like you to come in there before we go back to the calls. Eric, we can't hear you. I think you are muted. Dennis, you can come in there while Eric.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Okay, yes, we
can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, sorry, I was muted and I couldn't unmute. We've heard, I'm really pleased that we've heard from different people, but all of whom seem to be saying that we've got to negotiate, we've got to figure out, we've got to get into a dialogue. That's what I seem to have heard from the lady in Boya, from the brother in Estonia, from the one in Indiana. They seem to be saying that. And we've had a government that for 10 years now, almost 10, has not only been, dismissive of Amazonia, they're not even willing to sit around the table with you. A government that has people from southern Cameroon, like John Gute, in high places, prime minister, who wants to dialogue. He wants to talk. They won't even let him dialogue. He authorized the Canadians, an independent group in Canada. He authorized it as head of government, but they overrode him. He opened the way for dialogue in Switzerland. They overrode him. Everybody who's calling from the ground is asking, are you fighting them or you're fighting us?
No, that is not what
everybody
from the no.
Let me
That
finish,
is not
Chris.
what everybody from the ground.
No. I'm just talking about those. I'm talking about those
Eric,
who called
this is the problem. You
have to let me
talking
talk,
about
Chris.
dialogue. We are the
No.
other
I'm
side.
talking about the questions. They ask questions. You ask me to answer. I'm trying to answer, and you want me to go in your direction.
But you are
there's no
trying to
point by
spin
sitting
this.
here.
You are trying to
If it's
spin
not
this
to,
in a direction that it shouldn't be. You are talking about.
I'm answering the question.
You are talking about dialogue. We are the other side that has attended to every dialogue call, be it in Switzerland, be it in Canada.
Exactly.
We both agree.
You're totally right.
Both agree
You're
that
totally
the
right.
present regime
And I'm telling you that there are people in the government who have wanted to participate in the dialogue, people occupying positions as high as that of prime minister.
They had no leverage.
And what has not happened?
Power. They had no standing to negotiate.
Exactly.
To sit
so
on
you
the table
understand what
and
we
represent
so you understand what
Cameroon.
we're saying. That
They
until
couldn't
you
sit
throw
on the
out
table and represent Cameroon. Now you are telling us that is an opportunity. Let's go out and vote for this
no.
That
I've not told you.
No, the
Chris
question
Anu,
is, what is the guarantee that this your new leader, your new president, is going to win?
Well, let's take a chance on him than bet on people
That
who
is
told you to
gambling.
listen. Yes, it's gambling, but let's gamble at least than stay in a situation where the people you're dealing with have demonstrated that they will not come and negotiate with you. That's what the crowd in Yaoundé. And somebody asked about. Listen, let me finish, Chris. Please let me finish. Let me finish, and you can criticize everything I say if you want. And just before I go on, I can tell you, I have a written letter to Mr. Biya, amongst many things I asked, because he sent somebody to ask me what I thought. And one of the things I told him is, pull out your troops from the Northwest and Southwest regions. So that's just in reaction to something someone said. But let me go on with my thinking. I'm telling you, all I'm saying, I've not asked, and I say it again, I've not asked for anybody who believes he was an Ambazonian to go and vote. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, whether you like it or not, there are hundreds of thousands of people in the territory we call Ambazonia who will vote, whether you like it or not. And what all we're saying is, allow those people to vote, because they will. Let me finish.
You know that in Ambazonia, vote or no vote, the CPDM will always, as it has done for 64 years, that there was a voting and that they won.
Okay, let me finish. Let me finish and bring down, Reverend. Let me just finish. The problem with Chris Anu and the rest is that they're locked in their thinking, and unfortunately, the earth moves. And if you're not, you have to open your mind sometimes, Chris. I know the pain. And believe me, I have lost family members. Listen. But let me finish.
If you had been with Ambazonia from the beginning, I will buy your point. The fact is that from day number one, you have not seen Ambazonia. How can you say I'm the one who should appeal?
You want to go on an emotional appeal?
Ambazonia to surrender.
Listen. Let me just, this is what I don't like about this, and I'll probably, this may be the last time I come to talk to you, Chris, because you have to listen to others. And let me just react to one thing you said. There's a young man, a friend of mine, a brother of mine called Larry Ayong. Larry Ayong criticized me in 2017 because I drafted what I believed was a strategy for Ambazonia to free itself. In 2017. That's when that war started. So don't talk to me like someone who's never been interested in these things. I've always been. And I'm telling you about a note I wrote to the president of Cameroon, making the case for pulling troops out of Amazonia. So none of you has a right to come and tell me that you're more of that territory than I am. But let me finish in reaction to some
But
of the
did
things I'm
you
trying to
write
say.
a letter?
And
Did
I'll
you
take 1
write
minute,
a
1 minute,
letter?
1
Did
minute,
you
and I'll be
write a
done.
letter to say, listen, sit down and talk to Amazonians?
But that's what
Yes,
he
I
has
did.
been doing.
Okay.
That's all I've been doing. I've talked to Ayuk Tabe. I talked to the Naira 10 a few days ago. I'm constantly involved in this. So don't be more holy than the Pope, Chris.
That is not the case. That is not the
But
case,
that's all
Eric.
you're trying to do. You're trying to demonstrate that the
If
rest
people
of
in
us
Chiroma
don't
say
know what
we
we are
are
doing.
friends, right?
We
I am
want
talking to
the
them.
same
That
freedoms
doesn't
you
make you
want.
holier than thou. You know that.
Yeah, well, anyway, all I'm saying is if you could have allowed us to throw out a regime that has refused to negotiate with you, if you allow us to do what, it's a chance we are taking, but it's a better chance than the status quo.
All right.
Allow
Let's
us,
hold on
and
there.
I'm not
Let's hold
saying,
on there. Let's get back to the calls. Let's get
yes, I
back to
just
the
want to
calls. We'll
finish.
get back for one more
Last
round
thing.
before we go.
Allow us to get a government we can negotiate with, and maybe that would be a better way to peace than trying
All
to
right.
fight.
Yes,
Hold on there, please. Hello. Hello.
Hello. Yes.
Where are you calling from, please?
I'm calling from Texas.
Okay. And what is your contribution?
Okay, very good. So I would like to address a lot of Eric Ginger. I think he's being a little bit emotional right now. I would like to talk about now. Eric is more concerned about us moving forward, which is a good thing. I think we all are concerned about moving forward, and to move forward, we must take a brief look at the past, right? Yeah. So, in November of 2017, Paul Biya declared war on Amazonia. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the Republic of Cameroon has not even cared to discuss this in their parliament.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
They've not even talked about the word Amazonia or Southern. That's a major crisis. It's a war going on, and for us to start talking about, I mean, of course, there are Amazonians or Cameroonians who would want to who would vote. Atanganji is one of them, right?
Right.
So, I am sure. As I look at the screen, I see you all, the Southern Cameroonians over there. I am sure if we were to vote, if there was this referendum option that said, do you want to stay with Cameroon or do you want to part ways? I'm sure Eric Ginger would privately, secretly vote to part ways.
But why do you think he would do it secretly?
Behind the scene. If those were the two options that they gave.
Why do you think he would do that rather secretly?
I think he would do that because now listen, let's look at what Cardinal Christian, because let's not be talking about, he's talking about his statistics he has given here for the last few speakers who have spoken is statistically insignificant. You cannot take a sample of 3 or 4 people and capitalize. Christian Cardinal Toomey, when he did his statistics, it showed that at 69, that's 70%, right? 69% of Amazonians really just want to part ways. They don't want to have anything to do with Cameroon. So we cannot be saying that there are Cameroonians or Amazonians who have a voters registration card. Of course they do. Of course there are. We don't live in utopia where you have 100% of the population saying that, hey, we are. No, that's not what it is. So this is not an issue where, and with all due respect, Eric, I have tremendous respect for you, but let's not get emotional here. Let's look at the situation which is going on and be more realistic. We live in a country that
does not believe. I grew up in Cameroon. Again, it was all about the force of argument. We've tried this thing to do it quietly. People come out to teachers and lawyers, and the government comes up with what? They respond with violence, and then they behave as if it's Ambazonians who are being violent. They're going to, what happened with John Frundi when he won? What happened to Kamto when he won? Is it now that something Paul Biya can decide in the middle of the night, whenever that night, before he goes to bed, the outcome of the result the following morning, and there is nothing any Ambazonian or Cameroonian or Cameroonese or whoever will do anything about it. We've seen that in the past.
All
so
right.
let's not get too emotional here.
All right. Thank you for the call. Thank you for the call. We've got so many callers
Let me
here.
say something to the caller.
That's true.
The
Hello.
caller,
Welcome to Trace.
Hello, sir. Where are you calling from, please?
I'm calling from Texas.
Wonderful. All right. What is on your mind, sir?
Yes, firstly, I'm a die-hearted Ambazonian, but one thing I want to let Ambazonians know is that we need to be open-minded and look at the reality of things and the times we face. If we say Ambazonians, that who do we prefer to confront? Do we prefer to let Paul Biya and his regime steal this election and continue with maiming our people, killing our people, or to be able to get someone that we are able to talk to? Because if these elections happen and Paul Biya continue and the regime continue in place, it means our people will continue in this misery and suffering every day. That means because they are not even ready to compromise, it is better for us to have somebody who is ready to compromise, because Atanganji and the rest are not ready to compromise. And even if we say there is no vote, what Eric Chinige they are asking is, they are not asking Ambazonians to go vote. We should just be able to pull back and say, okay, Sunday and Saturday are free. Everybody can go out. Let's just and do whatever, but we are not asking our people to go vote. Because even if we vote or we don't vote, or if there is a lockdown, the regime will take 100% of those votes.
Does anything, comrade, hold on. From the history of that regime for 64 years, is there any election they have not won in that country? Tell me. So why will this one be a different?
Why? Because the technology is different, because life is different. The world moves. Nothing is distinct, nothing is stagnant.
The issue.
But now
the issue for me
we don't have that opportunity, because we have led the regime to take 100%.
What happened to Weber? What happened to Weber? Can Weber set foot in that country? Why is he out? Because the regime we are talking about drove him away. All right, thank you for the call. Please, so many calls coming in. Let me take others, please. Thank you.
My issue, even with this reason, is that why is Ambazonia still fighting?
Hello.
When the very regime is not giving you a victory? You could have given up.
Yes, sir, where are you coming from?
My brother, how can you talk of giving up?
Oh, good to hear you, sir. What is on your mind?
Not made for 10 years or 5 years.
I'm very
delighted.
And that's why
the arguments. I like the debate.
No, that's what you guys are just giving up.
And I really want to applaud Comrade Ijacha, Reverend Ijacha, as well as Comrade Dennis, and my other brother, Eric Chinji. He's doing a great job. I really want to, there's one thing that I've noticed. From the first time you invited Comrade Eric Chinji to this to your show, and the other times that followed, I've seen a tremendous shift in his position. He is able to call Ambazonia because this is something he has not been doing in the past. And I really want to applaud him for that change of position that he has made. And when we talk about voting for an election of a foreign country in our territory, we really mean it, because we cannot be fighting for independence
We cannot be fighting for the liberation of our people, and we still go around and then work with this same government that has never given a thought to our struggle. I agree with them on so many things. One thing they have said here, Reverend Jacha and Comrade Eric Chidi have said here that is very true, is that the La Republique, the government of the CPDM, has never acknowledged that there's a problem in southern Cameroon or Ambazonia. I don't want to call it Anglophones. We don't have any language problem. When we talk about Anglophone, it means it's a language, but we don't have a language problem. We have an identity problem here. So, the government of Paul Biya has never done that. And their shift is because of the fact that they feel that if that government is obliterated or deleted from Cameroon, certain minds, sound minds could come in. And that is why I like the statement that he used about gambling, that we need to gamble. And politics is all about gambling, because if you have the magic pill, I don't think that you are going to make it happen. I don't think that you are going to fight for a long time to get it. If we had the solution to this quagmire in which we find ourselves, we should have already used it.
All right.
So I'm not a devil's advocate here. I'm just telling my brothers, Reverend Ejacha and also Comrade Eric Chinji, that nobody, whether we like it or not, people are there with voting cards to vote right in my village, in Ajay village, in Gi. They are there to vote, but we cannot stop it. They have the liberty. But the problem we have here, the fundamental question I have here is, what has changed with the electoral process in Cameroon that can actually give us, that can necessitate that vote, that people are going to genuinely vote and then make it count for a change to be effected in Cameroon.
All right.
That is the problem we have.
Thank you.
We cannot wait our opportunities. People are going to vote, but that is not going to count anyway. Because
Thank you.
at the end of the day, Amazonia is militarized. One thing we know, some of these people, children, boys and girls will be going to vote. And the military will just go and ransack them, because when they know that these are people who are going to vote against the ruling government, they're just going to kill them and call them Amber Boys.
Yeah, everybody on Sunday who stepped out.
We have, and that is why we cannot put our people in the risk way.
Yeah, everybody who steps out on Sunday will be a suspect. You know that, Amber suspect.
Or an activity is organized by a foreign country. So that is what I wanted to say, but I just want to say, you guys are doing a great job. We like this argument, we like the debate, it's very educative. And Mr. Eric Tinji, please don't be angry, don't be emotional. You always come to the show. We enjoy watching you. Please don't be emotional and say that this might be the last time I'm coming here. No, please. We like to see you. Thank you.
Eric will always answer my call. All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Please permit me, lots of calls coming in. Let's just listen to them. Let's just listen to the callers, please, for a while. Hello.
Hello, Comrade Chris.
Hello, sir. Where are you calling from, please?
This is Maitre Nicon from the Netherlands.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is on your mind?
I want to first of all appreciate your entire panel for coming to speak to their fellow citizens. Let us put these statistics out. I have heard statements from the panelists say, what is the end game? Point number one, what is the state of the economy in Republic of Cameroon today? Point number two, for over 9 years now, has the Republic of Cameroon been able to govern Southern Cameroon? No. So these are the effects of the war. The Republic of Cameroon is on its knees, down economically. Worldwide reputation is damaged. That's the effect of the war. They keep hammering Southern Cameroon and Ambazonia with their military. The resistance is firm. Southern Cameroon has achieved and has moved forward. If they don't want to listen to us, let them keep doing what they are doing. They are the failure. Ambazonia will not participate in any election in the Southern Cameroon. Yes, I hear my able brother, Mr. Eric, talk about we will negotiate, we will dialogue, we will vote. In the first place, we are negotiating like who? As a whole country now or as a part of the Republic of Cameroon? So even the Chiromas, the Bello Buba, why is it that only certain Cameroonian must sacrifice for the benefit of the Cameroon? Multipartyism, how many people died in Bamenda before multipartyism was introduced, which paved the way for Bello Buba and even Isha Chiroma's freedom. And today, as Isha Chiroma been even thankful to the Southern Cameroon for having freed his life from life imprisonment after his participation in the coup d'etat in 1984, has Bello Buba even thanked Southern Cameroon for paving the way for his return from Nigeria to his country, where he's enjoying lavishly today. Excuse me, Mr. Chris, come on, let me come to
Yeah, so many callers trying to reach or just round up.
Go back to this, my sister in Boya, who maintained that the sufferings and all. Yeah, there is always sacrifice in liberation war. But let me assure all of you, please, our darling people, all the sacrifice is not going in vain. The success is there, clean and clear. Yes, the Republic of Cameroon has tried to negotiate. They had talks somewhere in Canada, but when they want to support with the announcement, who suppressed it? The Republic of Cameroon can never be trusted. So hold the line, Southern Cameroon and Bazuna. Hold the line. Stay at home. No vote.
Thank you. All right. Thank you for the call. Thank you. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, hello, Secretary.
Hello. Where are you calling from, please?
Yes, I'm calling from Tico.
Tico. Okay. What is on your mind, sir?
Okay, yes, I have some few questions for Eric Chinje and to remind them of certain things. Now, the first question, though it might not be probable, who controls Cameroon? Is it La République or France? That's the first question. Then the second question is, can Eric actually tell us if there have been two Cameroons? If yes, then he should start thinking. Now, the other point again that I want Eric to know about the people of Amazonia. There are some people in this world that are gullible. They cannot decipher. So we have to take a stern decision to stand on our feet to say that people should not go out. And because if you allow anybody like gullible people who don't know their left from the right, we just do whatsoever thing that they are doing. Now, coming to the another idea we bring in, the East Timorians. If you have to follow their history, the elites were in the other side, telling that government in which they were working that no, there is no problem, until at the end of the war, they have to have forgotten the other country. But when East Timor got into independence after 30-something years, those elites were bundled and sent into East Timor, where we cannot actually tell of what is their fate. So, please, I'm sorry to say this. I look at these two people, they are acting what I read in primary school as Anansi and the cunning spider. Maybe they're trying to play cunning one on us.
In primary school as well?
I'll raise my case there. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Hello.
Comrade Chris, let me ask this question.
Hello.
Hello. Good evening, Chris.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Finland, precisely in Tampere.
All right. And what is on your mind, sir? 50 seconds.
Yes, thank you. I just want to ask this question to you, Chris, and the other gentleman standing for Amazonia. The question I want to ask is that if we all know Amazonia are fighting for liberation, but if it happens that one of the methods or the way out for Amazonia to be free has to come through you allowing the vote to take place in Amazonia, will you people allow it to happen?
Good question. I will answer that.
Thank you.
All right. I think he's ended. So let me say this before I hand it over to Dennis, then Eric, and Kennedy, and we'll round up there. If elections were to take place in Ambazonia to determine a conclusion to the conflict, would we allow it or accept it? Of course, yes, we are looking for solutions. But the question is, what type of elections? Does an election for a president of a foreign country like Republic du Cameroon give us independence? Of course not. What we are saying is there are no guarantees that we're going to have a change of leadership in Cameroon, despite all the efforts to eject Paul Biya. There is no guarantee because we have the pedigree. We've seen this for 64 years. So, if this was a referendum vote for whether Ambazonia should go its way or stay with Cameroon, we will open the doors and say that is what we're looking for. But this is not a referendum vote. It is a vote for the president of a foreign country. Thank you. Dennis, come in, then Eric will come in.
Okay, Comrade Chris, let me just ask this question. Fortunately, our brother Eric Chinje is there. Now, we are bashing Ambazonia for not allowing vote and this and that. Have you, can someone explain to me why the press of La République du Cameroon has never even made an opinion poll to come out with the percentage of the population in La République du Cameroon that is supporting this war? Their parliament has not talked about it. None of the candidates contesting this election has ever come out to call for an end to this carnage that is going on. No press, no newspapers have conducted an opinion poll to say this is the percentage of the population that is supporting this war or that is against this war. Why is it so? Nobody in La République du Cameroon is genuinely concerned to bring about peace. Nobody. From their parliament to the ordinary person. Because if one of these people in contesting for election had ever come out to say, no, we disagree with what is going on, we will at least understand. So Eric can tell us, he is from the press, let him tell us whether he can understand why no newspaper in La République du Cameroon has conducted an opinion poll to gauge the level of support for this war.
Let me put it this way for both Eric and Kennedy. Don't you think, Eric and Kennedy, that the approach has been very wrong? If this opposition in La République du Cameroon had come to us and said, listen, we want to sit down with you and see how we resolve this conflict after the election. Let's work out a strategy. I think, and we turned them away, that would have been a big problem. They did not. They acted the same way French Cameroon politicians do. Let's ignore them. And then go to them, ask them to vote for us. And then after they vote for us, we can talk to them. I think that is capitulation on our side. Should everybody think that we'll just walk to them like dogs and say, okay, we'll vote you, so that after you win, we sit down and talk. Even if it is Paul Biya, we are ready to sit down with Paul Biya. We know he hasn't done so for the last 9 years. Whoever is in there, we are ready to sit down and talk with that person. It doesn't matter who that person is. For the person who said, what is your end game? We are willing, we are open to talk to anybody. But don't take us as amateurs and say, we will get them to vote, and then after the vote we'll do anything. That's the problem, Eric.
Chris, can I take the floor?
Yes, please, go on.
Yeah, you're saying that, I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. Let me again say to you and to all listening to me what the position I've had from the beginning. That position is there will be voting in the Northwest and the Southwest regions, in Ambazonia. There are people there who have voting cards and who will vote whether you like it or not. Now, if you make it difficult for those people, and I'm telling you the majority, the vast majority, will vote against the CPDM. If you make it impossible for those people to vote, the CPDM will claim their votes, whether you like it or not again. The CPDM will give those votes to Mr. Bia and Mr. And to the CPDM, the ELECAM and the Constitutional Council. They will get those votes. But if you join a wave that is coming from the north and the west, and I believe the littoral, Douala, it'll be impossible. We're making, I've just told you, because of the technology, and you keep going back to 92, you keep going back to the past, it has never happened. No, this time is different. Why is it different? The technology has changed. We've become more aware. We're more experienced in their ways of rigging, and we're taking action. We are taking action to ensure that there's a change in government. We established something called Project C. C stands for Cameroon, stands for change, stands for commitment. And precisely we've just learned from the past. None of these things were done in 92 when Ni John Frundi won. He won the election in 1992. We've learned from that. And this year we are intent on making it different, which is why I called you early on to say, Chris, whatever. And I called Ayuk Tabe and the others, the NERA 10 in Yaoundé. Do whatever you can to take away a power that Mr. Atanganji and the Ministry of Territorial Administration in Cameroon has. That power is to exploit the insecurities in the Northwest and the Southwest and to declare that the CPDM has won. But if the Amazonian leadership said, please put down your guns, let those who want to go and vote, go and vote. Because there are people who will go and vote, whether you like it or not. So let us allow the votes of those people to count instead of giving that power to Yaoundé to decide. And you're asking, your next question is, how do we know that this strategy will succeed? I don't know. But if you don't try it, you will never know.
Now we have tried for 64 years.
Yes. Okay, you've tried in the past, sir, but the world is changing. Don't stand in one position. You'll be blown away by the tide of history. The world is changing. We are learning. We're bringing our experiences and our expertise to bear. We're using new technologies to change things from where they've always been. So give the next elections a chance. Give us a chance to try to bring a government we can negotiate with. This government for 10 years has refused to negotiate. Now, if you agree that ultimately peace will only come through dialogue and through negotiations, then give negotiations a chance. Give this opportunity a chance. If we fail this time around, we'll learn from it and may do better the next time. But we just can't stand and say, no, we're not going to do anything this time around because, in 60 years, it failed consistently. Yes, it did. In 60 years, Cameroon has never had an elected president. Know that. Mr. Bia was a product of the French, sent to Cameroon to protect the interests of the French. Mr. Ahijo was a product of the French. So Cameroonians have never elected their